So in this video here, we're going to take a little look at the Srixon Z785 Iron, and we're going to put it up against the Mizuno JPX 919 Tour Iron. So two irons in a similar sort of bracket here, small cavity in the back, both forged heads, both look very nice sat behind the golf ball. So we're going to put these head to head. Got GC2 HMT on the floor here, we've got simulation set up, so we're going to check out some numbers how these clubs perform against each other, and also a little bit of feedback from my personal likes of look and feel. Okay, so just before we jump into the video, if you're new to my channel, then welcome. I'm Michael Newton, basically at Lytham Golf Academy. I've got loads of golf content with club reviews, swing tips, and also club comparisons coming your way. So if you're interested, then do consider hitting that subscribe button and also ring that bell to get notifications any future videos that land on my channel. Also, I'm on social media, so if you'd like to follow me on there, we can keep again up to date for my day-to-day runs here at the Academy through equipment testing and also swing tips and lessons. So Twitter hold is at MN Golf Coach, and also Instagram, which is also at MN Golf Coach. Okay, so we're going to put the Srixon up against the Mizuno. So I've set myself out 170 from the green, and I'm going to start off with the Srixon Z785. So a new offering from Srixon, very popular on their range. Just done a full review recently on my channel of this iron, so I'll put a little link up and you can go and check that out in a little bit more detail. And I liked it. It's a very nice sort of iron. I used to have this 745s, which was a couple of models ago before this 85s, and I really enjoyed those. So it's a good, solid performing iron. Let's start off with this first one. Yeah, good. Nice flight. Okay, so as we expect from this type of iron, yeah, it's hitting the green quite nicely. We're going to get pretty soft feel from these. So it's a forged head, it's fully forged, a soft 1020 carbon steel. It's a very nice sort of look down by that golf ball, very little offset, sort of medium to slimish top line, nothing too slim. And also we've got this bit of cavity in the back here just to help with a little bit of forgiveness. Yeah, that feels nice. Again, hitting the green nicely. Now, one thing I did find in the review video of this iron is the spin was a little bit on the low side for maybe sort of for my liking. Just didn't quite sort of stop as quick. So maybe one thing to look at maybe between these clubs. Now, the loft on this Srixon is 7 iron is 32 degrees and the Mizuno is 34. So there is a little bit of a loft change there. So we're probably going to see a little bit of a difference in distance and maybe a spin number because of that 2 degree lofts there. But having said that, I think other models of 32 degree 7 irons, I tend to see a little bit have a higher spin number than what I tend to get with Srixon. Yeah, just a little bit low on the face, but it's done well. Yeah, that looks to be stopping a little bit quicker there than what I maybe saw in the review. Yeah, I mean, that's 6,500. That's not bad. It's a little bit of a different spin number than maybe what I saw through that review. We'll look at it as an average, obviously. Let's get just one more hit. Yeah, that feels nice. Yeah, just probably if anything, I've caught a lot of those strikes just a little bit low in the face. I'm going to get really picky. Again, that stopped pretty quick there, 169 carry. So there's some shots hit with the 785 from Srixon. So I'm going to switch over into the JPX 919 Tour and we'll hit a batch of shots with that. Okay, so 919 Tour in our hands and one very nice looking golf club, as you'd expect from Mizuno. So very high end in terms of the quality that obviously Mizuno churn out, the tight sort of flow forged process that it goes through, really, which helps to get the sort of grain tighter but all in the same direction. That's Mizuno's sort of unique selling point in a way. But beautiful looking golf club, very little offset, sort of medium thin top line. Again, a little bit more of a blasted finish and not getting that polished edges that we see on the Srixon, but a very nice sort of sleek looking iron. A little bit of cavity at the back just for a touch of forgiveness. Okay, let's get this first one hit. Yeah, it feels nice. That feels very similar, to be fair, off that against the Srixon in terms of the sound and the feel there. That stopped pretty quick, as we'd expect. So as I say, this is 34 degrees of loft, so a little bit more lofted than the Srixon, so probably aiming a little bit more consistency of that spin number, a little bit higher spin number, a little bit more control, definitely not a distance seeking golf club. But again, we'll look at those numbers when we compare in more detail. Again, felt good. Hitting the green and stopping looks to be a little bit quicker than the Srixon. Yeah, that feels really nice. As you'd expect, you know, forged head, again, stopping quick. It's not a distance hitting club, but having said that, you know, I'm getting that around sort of mid 160s carry, so yeah, I can get 7 irons longer than that. That number doesn't really worry me too much, but that could be quite important for you guys possibly out there. So obviously this is something you've got to weigh up through a trial or a fitting purpose in terms of, you know, what do you want out of this iron. If it's just pure distance and you're maybe not too worried on spin numbers, then more of that, maybe that stronger lofted iron will probably come into its own. If you're looking for maybe not so much the distance element, or you're happy to maybe just give up a little bit, but then obviously gain more control and consistency, then something maybe a little bit more lofted iron would sort of be in that category, will try and help you to achieve that. So you've got to get a balance here, I mean, of what you want out of a new iron, whether it is that distance or it's that control. You've got to make that decision really. Okay, so we're going to give one more a hit and then we're going to check some numbers out. Yeah, it feels lovely. Yeah, nice flight, very similar to the Srixon. There's no real difference of between those two clubs in terms of where that ball sort of flies. Feels very, very similar. Looks just slightly different, maybe a little bit slimmer on that toe as opposed to the Srixon there. So if you want something a little bit more, slightly bigger appearance, a little bit more confidence in spine, possibly the Srixon might just work a little bit better for you. But let's go and look at some numbers in a little bit more detail and see if we can split these two irons. Okay, so looking at some numbers here. So the top column here we have the Srixon and the bottom section is the Mizuno. So the grey bands are the averages between the two. So the top grey band is the Srixon, bottom grey band is the tour iron. So looking at ball speed first, 122 against 120.9. So see Srixon just creating a little bit more ball speed, but just about 1 mile an hour on average. And we're seeing a launch angle there at 16.6 against 19. So difference of launch there, quite considerable. And yes, there is 2 degrees difference of loft with the Srixon being 2 degrees stronger. Look at the spin number there, so Srixon 6,500 as average, which is not a bad number. I did see a lower number there when I did my actual review, maybe just a bit of a different striking day. So that's not a bad number at all, 6,500. And we see obviously the Mizuno at 7,1.5 there. So higher spin numbers you would expect, you know, a couple of degrees more loft there, so that's probably where that sort of difference is coming from. So then that equates to a slightly different peak height, so 32 yards against 35, so obviously the Mizuno just flying a little bit higher and descending a little bit steeper at 49 degrees against 46, and distance wise the Srixon obviously with that little bit of ball speed, that slightly lower launch is creating that 4 yards more carry on average, which isn't a lot, and that's not going to sell or make me choose between one or the other if I'm in that buying process. You know, I'm definitely looking at more the spin number, the launch, how it feels in my hands, and how I sort of feel comfortable with an iron basically. Right, okay guys, so there we go. There's the Srixon against the Mizuno iron. So for me, 2 really good quality irons, and definitely if you're in that bracket where you want that little bit of cavity, but you want that forged head, that nice feel, that nice look behind the golf ball, definitely put these 2 on your radar to try. Now, which would I choose out of those 2? It's a tough one. I think I'll probably, if going on looks, I'll probably, it's a tough one. I'll probably edge between the, go for the tour. Just a little bit slimmer, which I personally quite like. But that doesn't mean I don't like the look of the Srixon. I think the Srixon's a stunning looking club behind the ball, golf ball. In terms of the numbers there and the consistency, obviously that ball speed's quite nice for the Srixon. It only equates to 4 yards, so that doesn't sell it to me really, but I probably like to have that a little bit more control of that spin number, which is more coming through that loft change in theory. And obviously through custom fit you can tweak the lofts a little bit, so in those Srixons, you know, if you really fancied those and that was the iron that you really sort of like, but you just want that slightly more spin number, obviously you can weaken the lofts by 1 or up to 2 degrees through through a custom fit process, and that's what the Srixon will build to. It'll also at the same time take loft off if you're in that area where you maybe just want to get that flight down a little bit more. But yeah, two great irons. Definitely go and try them. Beautiful clubs, good quality, great brands. Go and try them. Thanks very much for watching. Do appreciate you watching the videos as always. As I say, if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. It helps me massively in trying to get new product in my hands earlier to obviously get the content out to you guys, so it does help massively. Obviously follow us on my social media platforms, so both Twitter and Instagram, both at MN Golf Coach, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.